We're at the quarterfinal stages then of the Olympics, and tomorrow sees the US take on the Netherlands, a place in the semi-finals at stake. To look ahead to that game, Ali Krieger joins us once again. Hey, Ali, before we get to that, happy birthday for yesterday.
Oh, thank you.
What did you do to celebrate?
Oh, I made Ashlyn wait on me all day and just sat by the pool, had a cocktail.
Oh, what a life. And now you get to talk to me. What a bonus treat.
Yes. This is my highlight of the week.
This is the first time that you've been on that we've had a proper chance to talk about the US against Australia. Of course, dire game, 0-0, completely forgettable once the full-time whistle was blown. I just want to highlight a couple of the quotes after the game. First one from Alex Morgan. It was a tactical decision by Andonovski to shift defensively, a little more conservatively, and really allow them to be impatient, play along and give it back to us. Eventually, I feel like both teams kind of sat in and it became a matter of playing a professional game and moving on. Meanwhile, Australia's head coach, Tony Gustafsson, came out and said the one thing that surprised me a little bit was they were passive in their pressing. I used to see them very, very aggressive. I think it was two teams that respected the space behind. What do you make of those comments, Ali?
Well, I think that, if the game plan is what it is, we have to execute that. And if the coach, wants the team to execute a specific game plan that they've implemented, then you have to apply it and you have to do it. That doesn't mean that we can't go out there and play with a little bit more urgency, a little bit more tenacity, and, have a little bit more creation into the attack. I felt like we were playing a bit passive, but I know that, we made it out of the group stage, and that is actually what matters most at this point.
You take a look at the group standings, just a reminder how the US got through to the quarterfinals. They hardly set the world on fire. 1 win, 1 draw, 1 defeat. And within that, Ali, they only scored against New Zealand. It's got to be a concern, hasn't it? Considering the firepower that's on the pitch, the lack of conversions.
Yes, I agree, and I do feel like there hasn't been as much attack as we've seen in the past, and what I know we're capable of as a group. And so I do think that will improve this next match. It's win or go home. And so we have to have the ability and the capability to connect in the attacking and really finish those chances that we do create. There just needs to be a little bit more urgency, and some players I feel like need to just roll their sleeves up and get after it. So I'm waiting to see that complete performance from us still.
Of course, the Dutch, a team that you know well, the US women know well. Of course, you beat them 2-0 in the World Cup final back in 2019. How does that team compare to the one that is going to be up against the US tomorrow?
Listen, they're such a great tactical team who really can cause issues if we're not careful defensively and staying in a compact shape when we don't have the ball. We do need to come out and put them on their heels and really make them uncomfortable and not allow them to build that confidence that I think we saw Australia do in last game. I do feel like when we allow teams to build out of the back and not high press, that just builds confidence and motivation to continue to thread through the lines and get into our defensive third, which I think if we can solve that, not allow them to play, get them a little bit uncomfortable and on their back feet, then we will find success in our high press and winning the ball up higher on the field in order to create more opportunities.
And of course, trying to stop Vivianne Medina, who's got 8 goals already in this tournament, very much the star of the show for the Dutch. From a defensive perspective, how do you stop her?
You have to know where she is at all times. You need to keep your head on a swivel, and as a back line, she can slip in between the lines. She's also great at coming to feet and holding the ball up. And I really think that every player needs to have an idea of where she is, and especially on the transitional moments where they can really play through, beat lines, get forward quickly, and then, it's on her foot into the attack. And she's a great finisher. She's proven that this tournament, and she's proven that years before, that she's gets herself in these really great opportunities and spaces in front of goal, and she will finish. So we have to know where she is at all times. And we just need to affect her or the ball when the Dutch are playing to her, trying to find her in the space or into feet.
It's interesting when you take a look at the odds to win the whole tournament. The US still remain favourites. Does that surprise you, Ali, considering how poor they've been so far?
No, it doesn't surprise me just because of our reputations in tournaments past. When it counts, we thrive under the pressure and we get the job done. I do think we obviously have to have a different mindset and a little bit more urgency in these next rounds. You know, this upcoming game is the most important game in everyone's career there. So we need to really roll our sleeves up and get after it. And I know that the team has that ability, and I have no doubt that we will bring it. I trust, you know, every single one of those players, and I trust the staff to implement a game plan that will beat this Dutch squad. It will be a difficult game. It will be a challenge for us, but we are obviously up for any challenge, and I know that the women were going to handle it really well, and they're going to be ready to go.
What if they're not, Ali? How big of a failure would this be if they lose against the Dutch and get knocked out in the quarterfinal stages?
Yes, the standard is an expectation to win every game, to win the tournament, to get gold, and bring that home. So it will be a huge disappointment, just like in 2016, where we all were very disappointed. But I obviously want to make sure that everyone knows that, you know, the team will be ready, and I know obviously the girls really well, and each and every one of them want to fight to win this tournament, and we still have that ability. And now we've moved on, and that's most important. So the focus is just playing our game and making it uncomfortable for the Dutch.
What will the score be?
I think we'll win 2-0.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.